Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I'm really excited to share with you Cities of Venus Survivors. It's the latest and greatest from Tin Robot Games, and takes about an hour to play and scales all the way from 2 to 6. But the coolest thing about this game is not that it's in the same universe, which I absolutely adore and love, it's that play is simultaneous throughout the entire game until the big final launch sequence at the end, which is a totally fun, special, turn-based roll-off. So during the game, players are essentially mining the surface, looking for V-Knight in the pink or the black variety, and they're also trying to essentially collect or find these fuel rods, which is the way that the end of the game is determined. Once the player collects their 5th fuel rod, the end sequence begins, but along the way they might actually discover some of these V-Knots on their tiles by placing polyominoes out, which then come to their board where they get to collect a very specialized engineer that gives them a bonus throughout the game. So there's so many cool features here. You've got the polyomino, but then the core of this is that simultaneous play with dice manipulation. So players are going to take their dice and they're going to roll them. So I'm going to roll these dice for me. I'm going to roll these dice for my opponent. Wow! Oh my word, my opponent is just absolutely doing pretty good, but all the same number doesn't necessarily mean the same, a really good outcome. It could be what you want, maybe not, because your player board allows you to place your dice out. So if you want to place your dice out into here, this is your chance for a full house. 3 of a kind and then 2 of another kind. And that's going to give you one of the bigger polyominoes, the 5s or the 6s. If you want to place a run, that's what the little running man says, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in a row, you're going to be receiving either a 3 or a 4, and that gives you these tiles. Any number goes here. If you have a remaining die, go here, and it's going to allow you to grab one of these black crystals, the V-Knight crystals. You can only have 8 at any given time. Anytime you want to use one of your dice to manipulate one of your other active dice up or down by 1, you can place a die there. Up here, if you put 3 of any kind, you get a 2 size, but the big daddy cool is right here. So this says you have to all be the same kind, and notice that there are 5 spaces in this section, because this is where you get the Yahtzee 5. Now, if you do, you're going to get one of those fuel rods that you place into your personal player area. And again, the person that gets the 5th one triggers the end of the game, which is a launch sequence to send your ships, everyone who's down on the planet, back up to the clouds in this city. So that's really cool. But along the way, you might get one, which could really fit in a gap, which I'll tell you why you want to place those polyominoes out. That's 2 of the same kind. Here you're going to get one of these cool mech upgrades or tech. One-time use, you get 4 slots for those. Here you're going to get one of those V-Knight pink crystals. And these are going to allow you to get the booster dice. So you have 4, but in a future turn, anytime you spend these one time, you can gain one of these cool upgrade dice that's there for you 1 round and then they go away. And then of course you get that really big one, and that's going to be fantastic. So players start with this board over here. This is the start symbol, and every player has a little disc, a la the Brazilian steakhouse. So when you're done with your turn, you flip it over to the blue side so everyone knows, okay, we were on pink, now we're on blue. And when every player's tile shows blue, then you're going to know it's the end of the round, and then players are going to grab their dice, roll them, allocate them, grab the polyominoes and any bonuses that they get, and then they'll flip it back over again, and you just continually do that until someone triggers that launch sequence. So let's do one sample round and see how it goes. These were the dice that I rolled for me, and I got 2 of a kind, a 5 and a 6, and then I got a 2 and a 6. I'm wondering what I can do with this, because I could. How about this? I'm going to make my 2 in the down by 1 space, and I'm going to change this 5 into a 4, and I want to make a run. 4, 5, 6. And where your die ends is what you get, which is a level 3. So there is a 3 that's long and there's a 3 that's bend. Now I can put my tile out on my board as long as it touches the little mech. That's the start space. So I'm going to go like this, and I want to put it right here. And whatever it covers up is going to be what I receive in my kind of holding cell. This is, again, where I get to place the black and the pink V-Knight crystals. That's going to be the end of my turn. So I'm going to flip that over. Meanwhile, my opponent is doing what they want to do. Now, these are 3 of a kind. So let's have them do this and place their 5 in the question mark. Now, one reason why I did that is because this is going to get them one of the really cool mech cards. And again, you come down here and you put them in this area. They're one-time use, but they're really powerful. And then this gets them one of those black crystals. That allows you to pop the value of your die up or down by 1, but there's no wrapping. So this gets one of these cards. So in future turn, I can say this, I can change my dice to a 2 and a 5, 2 different dice. This gives me 2 black crystals. This allows me to go up or down by 1, 4 different times. And this allows me to do 2 re-rolls. Wow, this is so good. I'm going to take this one. This is pretty versatile. What you do is you place it up there, and then you're going to flip this over. And now we've got 2 of those guys. Once you get your 4th of these mech symbols, you gain a fuel rod. That's a really great way to do it, is to gain that one over here. That's fantastic. The other way is to gain it right here. And the last way to gain 2 fuel rods is to fully cover one of your tiles that's in your player area with polyominoes, fully covered. Now, the interesting thing about this is you're going to see these walls. You're not allowed to cross a polyomino across a wall. It must essentially go around all of these different walls. And when you gain a card, you're going to be placing out all of the possible V-Knight crystals and V-Knots that are available to you. It just has to connect orthogonally on either side of an existing board in your player area and then connect to an existing tile. So when I place my next tile out, it has to touch this one in some way, either on a new card or on the tile that it's on. But that's going to be it. Everybody is done. We did our turn. My opponent says, me too, I'm done. And now we just pick up all of our dice again and do it. But I have the chance to pay 1 crystal, which I will, to gain a booster die. And now we're going to do it this way. So I'm going to roll for them. They got a 1, 1, 3, 4. And I'm going to roll all 5 of mine and hope for awesomeness. I almost got the full house. Oh, that was so good. So 2, 2, 3, 3, and then a 6. So now players are going to decide, what do they want to do? And I wonder if there's a way for me to get my little V-Knot by putting out one of my tiles. It looks like I can put any amount of those in here, and then I could put maybe one of my workers over there, because I don't really have a run and I don't have too many of a kind, which is unfortunate. So I'm simply going to place 3 of any kind there, any die here, and this die essentially is not used because what I'm getting is one of these black crystals, and now I'm getting a twofer. And by doing that, I place it right here, gaining my astronaut, my little V-Knot, and I get to come out here and pick someone that I get to keep forever. And every round I roll my dice, I get to activate them. Do I always want a 4? Do I always want a 3? Do I always want to modify a die down by 2 or a die up or down by 1? Do I always want to be able to re-roll one of my dice? Or do I want to be able to flip my die from one side to the other side, essentially the opposite? So 3, 4, 2, 5, 1, 6. Well, that's tough. That's wild. Let's do that one. Let's see how it works. So when it's active, it goes like this. When you use it once per turn, it goes like this. Very cool. That stays there. I essentially got my astronaut, and I say, I'm done. That was very exciting. So what's my opponent doing? A 1, 1, and a 3, 4. If I pay my 1 to go up by 1, it goes 2, 3, 4. And then I have the run, and now they've got their 3 of a kind. So let's have them go out. I'm going to have them go out like this. And yeah. Well, actually, let's have them take a card. I'm going to have them take a card and put it to the side like this. We're going to have to populate it. So I'm going to take all of these tiles. I'm going to go gem, 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 and then I'm going to have an astronaut that goes right there in that space. And maybe what I'll do is move this up so that we can see it just a little bit better. And then I'm going to put this tile right across this space here. That's my start space. It connects to another card. And now they're going to get that in their player area. And I went right up against the wall, but it gives a good chance to kind of move out on both spaces. And they like it. They're happy. They're done. Fantastic. Okay, that's it. That's the second round. Notice that there are only the number of engineers for every player -1. So if you have a 4-player game, you'll have 3 copies of each of those cards, and then it goes down from there. So there was only 1 copy of each of these engineers for the both of us. So that one's gone. I took it, but there are still some engineers left for those astronauts that you find. Okay, so that's going to be the basic gist, but now that I use this booster die, it goes back to the supply, my dice come back, their dice come back, and then we just keep on playing. And again, you're going to get those fuel rods if you get 5 of a kind, if you get the whole card, any whole card filled up with polyomino shapes, or you get your 4th of your tech mech upgrades. It is just the coolest. This game is dynamite. I love the polyomino placement and I love the dice manipulation. Now the next thing I want to do is talk about the launch sequence when some player gets to their 5th fuel rod. So I'm going to put out some stuff to make it kind of look like my players have made some progress in the game. So let's say I gathered 4 fuel rods, but my opponent was able to gather 5 fuel rods. They got their 5th one on the turn and said, I just got all of my fuel rods. Now, one thing too is players are going to have been investing in these tiles to then cover up for their V-knots. So I'm going to say that a couple of us were able to, let's grab these guys for Lewis. Let's put these out here. Now, again, to earn these, you have to place your polyomino over, but this is going to essentially be what we would generally have going into the end. So here's the thing. You're not allowed to take your mech cards into the final launch sequence, and you're not allowed to use your pink crystals. And here's why. What players are going to do is the player who triggered it will take their dice plus 1 booster die for each fuel rod that they have. That's going to be what they roll. And they are going to roll for the most of one particular number, as many of those number as they can get. And you definitely know the rules here is whoever has the most of a particular number wins. But if you have the same amount of dice of that number, it's whoever has the highest value is going to win. And this totally reminds me of To Court the King at the very end. There is that roll-off with these same sequence. Tom Lehman, I mean, old school, absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. And so this is when players go in turn order, and they are going to essentially roll off. So I didn't get as many fuel rods, and I'm not going to get to roll as many dice, but we have these engineers we get to use one time, and we also have these black V-Knight crystals that we're going to be able to use in our turn as well. So let's have Lewis go. He's always my second player. I'm going to move this over here just so that I can give him some space to roll, because there's a lot of dice here. Let's see how well he does. He's going to roll the dice. Oh my gosh, why is he always so good? Look at these 6s. Let's have him go for the 6s. He's got 4 6s and a couple 5s. Now, did he get the opposite? Oh, I have the up-down. Now, if he'd had the up-down, he would have been able to turn that 1 right over to his 6, but he didn't. That was me. So, woohoo. Down by 2 and then 4. Gosh, I don't even think that helps at all. So he's going to pay his 2 black crystals, 1 and 1, to make a 5, a 6, and then a 5, a 6. And now he's going to manipulate. Let's have him make this 1 into a 4, and then he will pay 1 up and 1 up to make a 4, a 5, and then the 5, a 6. So he essentially has this. This is his score right now. He's got 7 6s. That's going to be really hard to beat when I only have 8 dice and 6 is the highest number. We'll see how well I do. Then we just go in in turn order based on the fuel rods. Okay. Oh, I did so good too. Oh my, oh my. Okay, so I have the flip-ums. Flip-ums, 1 to a 6. Am I gonna do it? I'm gonna do it. 2 of these go 5 to 6 and go 5 to 6. And I have 1 black V Night Crystal and then another reroll, and I did it. Okay, so it's exciting. It's just a lot of fun at the end. And it has that feature of building up what you have, saving up the black crystals, and getting really great engineers so that you can win the roll-off even when it seems highly unlikely that you're going to beat someone because you have fewer dice than they do. But it's very possible. And along the way, you are playing a polyomino tile game where you are strategically placing out all of your polyominoes. The bigger and the better that they get, the interesting shapes that you get with these polyominoes out to your boards, you're allowed to have a maximum of 4 tiles in your player area, always placing 1 orthogonal and with your V-knot facing the same direction. So this is legal because my V-knot's here, and I'm going to place a tile that goes across and either connects to or crosses over into that space. These cards are priceless and they're only 1 time, but if you get 4 of them, you're going to get that extra launch trigger, your fuel rod, which is super, super important. And having those booster dice when you pay the pink V-Knight are so, so valuable. This game is fast. This game is fun. I think it's my favorite of the Cities of Venus because it is so teachable and playable, and players have a fantastically fun time with their kind of like Yahtzee play here, and then the big fun roll-off at the end. I can't believe I rolled so many 6s. I mean, it just must be my day. I'm really rolling off super, super well right now. So lots of fun and just tons and tons of like charm. I think this game is charming. We left playing this game when in my variety of plays, in my multiple plays, every group left feeling super energized and just really happy and pleased with the things that they did and the way that they played. And the fact that everyone plays at the same time, the simultaneous play, it goes really, really fast. Now, if there are players trying to get cards and it's the same turn, they'll have to roll off if they are competing for the same card. Just make sure that you roll a die and whoever rolls the highest gets first pick, and then from there on. But you always get to have 4 of these kind of mech cards to pick from on your turn. And the box does come with this inset so that you have all your polyominoes in the same spaces they're labeled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you've got all of your little bits and your V-knots and all those crystals in there. So what a dynamite game to come out with this polyomino dice manipulation game with the Cities of Venus world and universe. Just a lot of fun for that hour-long game where you're always playing, and then you have that massive finale that is so, so satisfying. Okay, everybody, it's going to be it for me this time. Go check it out. I've got the links in the description below. I'll see you later. Bye.